Hi there. Thank you so much for reading and watching this week's newsletter. So, it's one of these questions that comes up a lot with Orton Gillingham lesson planning is how can I weave in some grammar into my lesson plan that's really done thoughtfully? And we know when we're talking about a structured literacy approach, we know this is it. It's not just about more phonics or more phonemic awareness. Structured literacy really incorporates so much more than that. Not just phonology, but orthography, morphology, grammar, syntax, semantics, big part, handwriting, writing, reading to learn how to decode and become a comprehender. All of those aspects of structured literacy really are woven into Orton Gillingham methodology. But one area I find is grammar can feel a little bit of an afterthought. How can I pick certain points of the lesson to really weave grammar in thoughtfully? So, we spent a lot of time on the speech to print part. Like, for instance, and I'm basing this story off of a lesson that I had with a student this week, this actually past 2 weeks. We were talking about words with final blends. And we were talking about the word kept. Of course, we're mapping out the sounds here. Sorry if this looks backwards on your screen. Kept. And listen, words with final blends are really tricky for our kiddos. Sometimes that final T isn't even really processed at all. It's like it's not existent. So using that speech to print model really is so important. So of course, mapping out and writing out the letter representations after and saying it out loud. Sure, that's a great multisensory approach using speech to print. But while my student and I were studying these words that may have ended in PT, we also realized that there was a valuable grammar lesson that could be incorporated with irregular verbs. So the next step for after this became a little bit of a grammar activity. So, and this pocket chart I use just to be able to model in front of my video screen. But what I had done was pick up the words that may have had the PT or FT endings and talked about how there's a contrast in their spellings from the present tense to the past tense. Now, I was not using this as an opportunity to teach the EE vowel team. My student at this point was really not anywhere near that lesson in their progression. But as a grammar activity, to see the contrast between the two and use this as an example of building language development, particularly in grammar and semantics, this is really something that this child needed. And a lot of kids who have dyslexia need this as well. So what I did was create situational sentences. All right. So I have today, and I could change the pronouns to we, to they. Okay. And you can even add in, the word will. So if you want to make it future, you can. Today, I will keep my snack instead of sharing it. We'll think of some situation. Yesterday, I kept my snack because I didn't want to share it. Something like that. Okay. So we looked at the two together, and it was sort of an interesting lesson because the student can pick up on that spelling change that happens when we change the tense in irregular verbs as well. So let's do another one like today. I will creep past the sleeping tiger. Yesterday, I crept past the sleeping lion. Something like that. Okay. So we would practice creating situations where we would put in the irregular verbs into the sentence and finish off the sentence, and showing them the contrasted verbs side by side, I think is so helpful. And knowing that sometimes you may have vowel team EA. Okay, and this is a whole other lesson there, from leave to left, keep to kept, sweep to swept, weep to wept. So I hope that gets you thinking about how you can find ways to work in small chunks of grammar and usage into your lessons that really make sense. In this case, sure, I could have spent all this time working on just mapping out the sounds of those final blends in speech to print, but I feel like it would have been a missed opportunity if I hadn't built in some language development by mentioning these irregular verbs, practicing coming up with sentences in an oral exercise, and then even practice writing out a few after on something like one of these large sentence strips that you can use even a dry erase marker on. So really working in that writing component as a follow-up is so helpful. So something to think about. Let me know if you like this idea, or if you've tried it before or have any questions. I will leave a link to some blends activities if you need some for consonant blends. Finally, don't forget, Building Readers for Life is coming up really soon. Registration is open. We start August 1st. It's all asynchronous, so you can just watch it whenever it's convenient for you for 3 months. So have a great week, and I'll see you soon.